What is up, everybody? Toboverse here today. So I've got an interesting post on Twitter where somebody is confirming. A lot of people are starting to confirm now. Or they're starting to believe. So he says, hard truth: the PS5 is selling simply based on the success of the PS4, while the Xbox Series X actually had to prove that it is actually the better console hardware and has the better consumer-friendly services. So I agree with this wholeheartedly. The PS5 was only selling because of the massive success the PS4 had. People like to say it's because PS5 has these amazing exclusives. I have both consoles, so I'm trying not to be as biased about this thing, but because I have both. But when you look at the PS5 library, yeah, Spider-Man Miles Morales, that was like the big game that was heavily advertised. It's like that game was cool, but you could beat that game in probably 2 days, and probably some people probably beat it in one day. You're pretty much done with it. Um, Unless you're like a huge fan of the Demon Souls, or I guess Demon Souls like niche genre, it's probably necessary for you to get. Like you have Demon Souls, and you have like Return, which is a similar game to that. But I'm missing a lot of people who don't even like those genres of games, like hype up like Returnal or something like that, hype up Demon Souls. I've been seeing people hype up Ratchet and Clank when they have the same people who criticize like platforms and Nintendo of their games being like kiddie-ish, looking like a kiddie style game, but they're hyping up Ratchet and Clank. So it's just a lot of hypocrisy with this system, man. A lot of people are just being hypocrites. It's like they brag about these exclusives, but it's like a lot of these exclusives they don't even care about, to be honest. Like when I'm really cared, like the exclusives I know, like Ratchet and Clank. I played the 2016. I played the 2016 game. I thought the game was okay, but it's not like it's on my major like a must play game I gotta play. As me owning a PS5, it's not like a. I'll say out of my wanting to play Ratchet and Clank, like 10 being the highest that I want to play right now, and 1 being like I don't, or 0 being I don't care at all. This would have to be like a probably like a 4 for the new Ratchet and Clank game. It looks cool, like the visuals look amazing, but I can wait for that game to go down in price. The major games I'm really waiting for on PS5 is the God of War Ragnarok and the Horizon Zero Dawn 2. So if both those games come out this year, I'm gonna be happy. But other than that, it's like I can think of and that Kenna game. That Kenna game looks pretty amazing. I think that's a PS5 it's like exclusive game too. But other than that, yeah, I don't really care about the exclusives they really have on PS5 like that. A lot of people are feeling the same way. It's kind of like kind of don't care about these exclusives like that, but when you go to Xbox wise, it has the better hardware. Like the games are running better on Xbox. Well, recently, especially recently, like we had the whole Resident Evil Village. Was running a little bit better. Even though it wasn't about much, it was running a little bit better. Yeah, like what was that one game? The Master Leisure Edition. That's running a lot better. You know, people can say it's the whole backwards compatibility. It's the Xbox One game, but it still runs better. Nonetheless, it runs better. It's a new game that runs better on the system. Next, we got Biomutant coming up that runs better. So yeah, and it got the better services with Game Pass. So it's like a lot of people are coming with this statement they like Xbox more. It's like Game Pass is such an amazing service. People are still gonna buy the PS5 regardless. It's just selling based on the hype of the PS4 that the PS4 had. So let's read some of his responses and see what people are thinking about this statement. Xbox Series X and S also the PS5 for April in the UK. Okay. Bro, the PS5 is selling based on exclusive games and a history of great exclusives from Sony. They earned that trust. Xbox hasn't earned anything yet. Really? Like, I made a video about this guy yesterday too. Like this guy makes some ridiculous statements. Like it's just hard to believe he was such a diehard Xbox guy, but now he's just a diehard Sony guy. Like it doesn't make sense now, but okay. PS4 has had 100 million people, a exclusive game that sells 10 million to 15 million. So no, they don't so no, they don't. They didn't buy PS4 exclusives on PS5 or PS5. Yeah, that's the crazy thing too. The people they would brag about all these console sales that the PS4 had. It's like what he said, like 120 million people who have PS4s, but the exclusives would be selling like 15, 10 million. It'd be like, what is that? That's like what is it, like 10%? That's like 10% or something. I was like, that's not what is that? You sell 10%. The exclusive only sell like to 10% of the audience that has a PS4. Like when we compare it to like to Nintendo exclusives sell a lot more. Like their exclusives like in the 30 million, 50 million. It'd be like insanely high numbers for the Nintendo exclusives. But they don't talk about that though. So it's like the people, if we really want to talk about exclusives, it's like the Nintendo fan base buys their exclusives a lot more than the Sony fan base does. But they don't talk about that though when they talk about these exclusive numbers. So the internet never forgets. This is the guy you pony support. Read what he said. Let that sink in. Spider-Man looks good. Dad of War looks okay. Remake of a game I never liked. This is an awful lot like E3 remaster. Yeah, that's why a lot of people think this guy is just fake. It's like, to be honest, it's like, how do you go from a hardcore Xbox guy who's saying all these Xbox games are amazing and these Sony games are trash, and not to just flip flopping and saying all these Xbox games are trash and Sony games are amazing? Like, it just don't make any sense. Like, it's just he just sounds like he's fake. So you're saying Xbox Series X on isn't by based on the success of Xbox One, etc. But rather they were going about PS5 and Series X didn't prove itself. The PS5 didn't have to prove itself. People simply purchased the PS5 based on the success of the PS4 and name recognition. Like, people, like, that's the crazy thing too. Like a lot of these Sony guys like to say about how these exclusives are so amazing, yet their exclusives don't sell that well. Whenever we see the top 10 list of games that sell the most, it's always like a Call of Duty, Madden, a NBA 2K, FIFA. It's always like a third-party game that's selling like Grand Theft Auto. It's always a third-party game that's selling extremely well for the system. It's never like this. The exclusives might get in there like occasionally, but it's not like that common. It's always a third-party game. But these people brag about exclusives so much, like, it just doesn't make any sense to me to brag about these exclusives like that. I mean, I love the exclusive games that Sony has, like Ghost of Tsushima and God of War and Last of Us Part 2, but it's not a genuine discussion when you say the exclusives are selling a system. No, the exclusives are not selling the system. That's just the name recognition of Sony and their brand recognition. So let's see. Back on the statement. The PS5 didn't have to prove itself. Simply purchased the PS5 based on the success of the PS4, while the Xbox Series X had to prove itself by running current gen and last gen games better. Yeah, because they got to do both. They got to make sure that the current generation games run better, and the last generation games run better as well too. So, and they have better consumer-friendly services like Xbox Game Pass and free frame rate boost to older games. Yeah, that is amazing. They just improve these older games like that. Like, they play a lot better. Like I was just saying in my other video too. Like, I was playing Shadow Warrior 2 on Game Pass, and that game, I think they improved the frame rate of that game too for free. You didn't have to buy any special edition. It's just improved it for free. It's like they're improving a lot of games with the FPS boost. So it's definitely, like, Xbox is definitely more consumer friendly this generation than all the other console makers. And with Xbox Game Pass, you pay like $10 to $15 a month for like over 300 games. It's like games that you probably missed out on. Like, it's just mind boggling. People just down talk Game Pass and say how Game Pass is a terrible service when you just like, there's no way you play all these games that's in Game Pass. There's no way. It's like, if you are a normal functioning person with like a job, or a spouse, or a significant other, or like responsibilities, there's no way you have all this time to play all these games like that. And so it kind of feels like people are making excuses when they just try to downplay Game Pass. It's like, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of games you haven't played in Game Pass that you are probably interested in, but because it's on Xbox, it can't be praised whatsoever. So let's see. The PS5 was selling for the same reason iPhones sell, brand recognition. I truly believe that as well too at this point. Like, you can't tell me the Xbox Series X isn't a better system than the PS5. I just don't believe it. Like, they don't even have the SSD support. Like we're like 6 months in, the PS. You can't even put an SSD in the PS5, while the Xbox had this since launch. We could add the external SSD memory card thing inside your Xbox, and it worked just fine since day one. Um, it's just like they just rushed the PS5 out. It was like, and older games, the last generation games still use like the PS4 Pro settings, while the last gen games are running better on the Xbox Series X. Like, I don't know. I don't know. Let's see. What does Crowd Gamers Channel and PS5 have in common? Both of them are trash. Okay. Agreed, PS4 had built up so much goodwill, rightfully so, that everyone expected the PS5 to be amazing. Turns out the Xbox Series X is better in every single conceivable way. And in comparison, the PS5 sucks. I wouldn't go say the PS5 sucks, because it's still amazing that some of the next generation games run extremely fast, on like no loading times. But I think people are just really they're just making excuses for the PS5 so far. It's just like, I don't know. So he says, yeah, I'm also a PlayStation fan, but I do agree that Xbox has this generation. Sony redeemed itself coming from the PS3 to PS4 and continued its momentum with PS5. How come the Series X has redeemed itself from the Xbox One era? It is? Like, what are you talking about? Like, the Xbox Series X is a lot better than it was Xbox One generation. With quick resume, Game Pass, uh, what else? Yeah, the backwards compatibility. It's a lot better with. I don't know what he's getting at with this statement. Lack of exclusives that take full advantage of the system. That's the problem. But they own Microsoft owns 23 studios. It's like I don't understand why they expect all these games to come out at one. Like these people now know how long game development takes, especially like these big AAA games they clamoring for. It just doesn't make any sense. Like Microsoft has all these studios. They just recently acquired Bethesda, and all their studios as well under them. So I don't understand why they think these games are gonna come out like instantly. Both consoles aren't even a full year yet on the market. And one of the biggest reasons the PS4 was way popular from the start was the god awful marketing of Microsoft for the anti-semi features. They destroyed themselves from the start. Like I don't understand the PS4 had a they pretty much had a grace period. People were just like because PS4 had like really no exclusives at launch either, but people didn't complain about the PS4 it was like with exclusive titles, but apparently Xbox Series X has up all these exclusives. And then Halo Infinite comes up this year, so it's like Halo Infinite is going to be an amazing game. It comes up this year anyway, so it's like, I'm more interested in Halo Infinite than Ratchet and Clank and like Returnal. Probably the same interest like God of War or Ragnarok, but yeah, I don't think people are just making excuses like just to trash talk Xbox. Or maybe the PS5 is selling because it's an actual next gen console. The DualSense alone feels more next gen than anything on Xbox. The DualSense too, man. I don't understand how people are just praising this controller that much. It just feels like it's just more vibration features. It's like when I was playing the what game was that? The Astrobot game for PS5. I'm like, I don't see what people are going so crazy about this. It's like you just gotta do a lot of unnecessary BS. It's like motion controls. I'm like, when do people start liking motion controls and all these gimmicky stuff like that? Like, I think people are just like praising anything new that the PS5 has. They didn't care about prior to like they didn't care about it before, but now the PS5 does it. They care about it now. Like motion controls, gimmicky features like you can blow into the controller. Like that's a big feature now that people are hyping the DualSense about. Like really, it's like I just don't get it. How can the PS5 be more next gen? The Xbox is more powerful. Yeah, the controller is amazing. Doesn't mean the Xbox controller is bad though. Yeah, it's like if the design isn't if the design is not broken, why fix it? It's like the Xbox controller is like the template for controllers, for in my opinion. It's like why fix the controller? It's not really gonna need to really fix anything on. Yeah, I can't deny that. Xbox really has set up their game with their games, and you know the Xbox has way better backwards compatibility. Okay. Hard truth, the PS5 is selling based on the fact that it has new games. What new games? Like, what new games? Because when I talk about this, it sounds like I'm a Debbie Downer for the PS5, but they keep saying and talking about these exclusive games. It was like Demon's Souls is a PS3 game. Miles Morales is like kind of glorified DLC. If you want to be honest, you can beat that game in 2 days or a day. Ratchet and Clank. That looks like the most amazing game, but I'm just shocked that so many people are want to play. They're just hyped about Ratchet and Clank now. Like stop it. I think a lot of people are just capping about a lot of these exclusives. Like Returnal, really, a game that had all these crashes and bugs that like pretty much nobody reported about, but this just everybody's favorite game now. Like knock it off. I don't know. Pony's playing the sales game when in reality the real game is not about sales. Yeah, to be in a like who really cares about these companies' sales? To be honest, as long as they bring out games, so I don't really care about. Like I don't care how much these companies sell their products. It's about the games. Oh wait, Xbox has no games still. Meanwhile, Resident Evil came out, Mass Effect Legendary Edition came out, Biomutance's coming out. Yep, over 300 games in Game Pass. Okay, but Xbox has no games. Okay. When the original Xbox arrived, Microsoft had to prove itself and came prepared with a crazy launch lineup. This is a shameful treatment what they are doing to the chance with this new console release. I can definitely say I am hyped for Halo Infinite more than most of Sony's exclusive lineup. Just to be honest, um, look at this. This is what you do with that new controller. People are hyping this DualSense up. That's like people hyping up. Blowing into a controller. Definitely next gen right there. Better games help millions. Better games help sway millions toward a console. It's not rocket science. Xbox should have big games at launch, not just services. We're gamers. We play games. Oh my god, you play these games. You play these games for a week and then you move on. Like they all keep repeating the same thing. Like it's just so weird. It's like robots. They all keep repeating the same thing. We got new games. We got exclusives. When it's like when you dig deep into these exclusives, you're talking about like they're I don't know. Okay, you got it. You got it. Y'all got all these new games. You got it. Let's see. Which made Sony be lazy and put out a weaker system. I'm not saying the PS5 was weak, but it's clearly a poor design and not even close to next gen features. It just seems like an unfinished product. My guess is they went to launch a few years ago and then held off because of Microsoft. What next gen features did the Xbox bring exactly? They use the same dashboard system control and SSD that isn't as good. Are you kidding me? Like, quick resume is like the biggest one? Like, what are you talking about? And like once again, like why change the dashboard up? Like I don't understand like this whole they complain about the user interface being the same. Like if it ain't broke, why fix it? It's like I don't get it. It's like why fix it? And it did make some improvements. Like when you press, it did make some improvements. So like it's like I don't understand like why they think everything just needs to be completely revamped because of the new system. I don't understand that logic. It's like when you buy a new PC, is Windows revamped or like I don't understand like why fully revamp everything around? Doesn't make any sense to me. Let's see. Yeah, the PS5 is definitely a cool machine, but the Xbox Series X and Xbox Series S just has more features and are more feature-proof than the PS5 hardware, wise and services right now it seems. But Xbox is still like when it comes to games. Okay, I'm gonna substitute games for exclusive games because they have plenty of games on Xbox. I love Game Pass, but games are where the PS5 takes the lead. Xbox is not more feature-proof than PS5. Okay. PlayStation has a larger player base, so when the Sony players flex their sales, it's like okay, as expected. What a weird flex. Yeah, it is kind of weird. That's how a console game has always been. Microsoft changed the flex to where exclusive sales no longer matter to the loyalists. But it doesn't matter if multiplat's better. Since Hitman 3 came out, it started that way, yes, but it's not wait, but now it's not at all. They do deliver on exclusives when thankfully finally coming to Xbox there was the main problem. Agreed, but Sony has been a juggernaut since day one. But Xbox has setting itself up to stay around for a long time. Sony will always sell more consoles. But Xbox will always be the best to play the majority of the games on consoles. Okay. Yeah, because I don't understand why you think it's like if a console sells more, like what does that mean exactly? Like, okay, I'm pretty sure like even when you look at like fast food joints, there's like a Burger King, there's a McDonald's, there's a Wendy's, a White Castle. They all don't sell as much as McDonald's, but they're still around. People still want to have an option. It's like I don't understand. Like, who cares that the PlayStation sells more than the Xbox? Like, who really cares? It's like I don't know. I just don't. I just don't. People care. I don't see why people care so much about these sales of these consoles. It's like, is Sony giving you a cut of the money that they're making? No. Like, why do you care about the sales of the system? It doesn't make any sense to me. Well, PS6 will sell based on PS5 success, and Xbox Series X, if it still exists by then, will still be trying to improve something that's not. Keep playing on your $500 emulator machine while we're already in the next generation. Man, why is the Xbox fan base so delusional? Okay. That's a fair point, though PS fanboys like the S on Xbox for trash hardware too, though, at least from what I have seen. Yeah, it's just a lot of Sony fanboys in this comment section, like, to be honest. It's like they brag about these exclusives, but these exclusives that I just named aren't that amazing. Besides, like, the only one I'm really hyped for is God of War, and like I said before, Horizon Zero West. The other ones I don't really care about that much. Um, it's all included right here. It's like I'm kind of like being a dead horse at this point. Like at the end, at the pretty much to summarize this, I think the Xbox is the better console this generation for right now. And it's only gonna be more insane when actual these exclusives they care about so much when Xbox finally gets their exclusives come out. It's gonna be a big game changer. I just want to see what the new narrative is gonna be once these exclusives start coming out. Like we saw how some of these people were just crying about how they're not getting Starfield or all these other Bethesda exclusives that's gonna come out in the future. So I'm just curious of what the new goalposts are gonna be. As I say, hey, they're gonna keep going by sales when the exclusives are finally coming out. Like, what's gonna be the new talking point when the exclusives for Xbox start coming out? Like, I'm curious what the new talking point is gonna be. But definitely want to get thoughts about this down below. Like I said, this post had a lot of traction to it. A lot of people responded to this post. Let me know your thoughts about it down below. Leave a like if you like this video. As always, thanks for watching and peace.